It's like that was random as hell.
Oh, for sure. So we
Yes.
back live. We back. We back. Welcome to the Bro Foundation podcast. Profound conversations with brothers across the nation. That's what we do. That's how we here. Um, Shout out to everybody today for tapping in. Um, it's a beautiful day where I'm at, where Corey's at. How about y'all? What's it like where you living at, Jess and Henry?
Up in Dallas, baby. It's beautiful out here, 75 degrees. Feeling good right now, baby.
Sir.
Okay.
We're getting a mixture of sun and rain back and forth. It's spring.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But like he said, it's sunny and 60s and sunny. So can't complain, bro. It's the PNW for you.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, we just gonna jump right into it, man. You guys know what we do here. We like to take a topic and something that pertains to just life in general, you know. But yeah, we just gonna jump right in, man. We were, I missed the meeting, but I'm always gonna be tapped in. But we gonna talk about like the importance of making sacrifices, yo. You know what I mean? Like how important it is to make sacrifices in your life. And I'm sure everybody out there has had to make some kind of sacrifice. That's just a part of being. I mean, it's a part of life in general. But as you become, an adult, it's really you can't really, be an adult without making some sort of sacrifices. It's a natural part of it. So, yeah, we're just gonna tap in and talk about that, of how the importance of it. So, what you guys think? Why is it important to make sacrifices when it comes to life?
Man, I start off just from my perspective and keep it short and sweet. Like you said, it's something we can't get away from. At the end of the day, for me, how I look at sacrifices, and the reason it even came up as a topic was more so like, what is it in life that you want to achieve? What is it that you need to do? How do you get to that point? And a lot of times when I, look for answers in those situations, it requires sacrifice. It may be small, it may be big, but at the end of the day, like you said, it's something that you can't avoid. And for me, it's like the first person I seen make sacrifice that made an impact on me to see like, oh, this is necessary. This is what you got to do. For me, which kind of ties into the month that we in, is my mom's. Having a strong Black woman raising you by herself, you don't even be knowing as a kid what really be going on behind closed doors. You don't really know the finances. You don't really know like what she gotta do versus what she want to do or what she gonna do. And just throughout that process, watching it, it was like, man, Black woman is strong, but it's a Black woman raising a Black man, and it's like mentally, I'm already just calculating like, okay, if I want to get to this, I want to, 100K a year, what I got to do to get there. I'm gonna have to sacrifice some sleep to make that income. I'm gonna have to sacrifice, maybe partying a little bit. I'm gonna have to sacrifice drinking, going out, kicking it with the boys. Whatever the case may be, it can go all the way down, but it's just something that you can't get away from. I just feel like I got my first impression of a sacrifice from a Black woman, so it's like it's only right that I understand that fully and take heed to it.
Yes, sir. I looked into pretty much the definition of sacrifice, and part of it was talking about you have to come upon an act of offering. So you giving up something of yourself. And I can remember in 2020, I went to this conference for our job, and one of the questions was raised inside of the auditorium, and the guy was like, uh, he asked the guy, he was the CEO of the company, so he was a millionaire, So they was asking, he's like, man, how do I become a millionaire? And the man was like, you might not be ready to do what I had to do to get where I'm at right now. because it requires a lot of sacrifice. So once he said that word sacrifice, I didn't look at it to that scope until now. And sometimes we don't even realize that we actually doing an act of sacrificing because it's just something that you feel like you're doing. But I looked into it and he was like, a lot of things what you just said, Cole. He was like, I lost a lot of sleep. You know, I couldn't go to these parties. I couldn't, like he said, I was in the lab the whole time because I knew I had something that I wanted to get accomplished, and everything else was a distraction. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you look at it and view it from that point, you know, sacrificing yourself, because like you said, you know, with the moms and stuff, you know, like family, the dads, even as you know, everybody, it requires some type of offering from yourself. So, you know, getting up at 5 a.m., you know, to go work out, you know, I can't be jealous of the person that actually got the body that I envision inside my mind. Because if I don't go and go put the work in, I'm not going to look like that or even better. So if you want a healthier version of yourself, it's going to require for you to go work out and go do, you know, eating right and everything like that. So everything that we actually go through in life, it requires some type of sacrifice and it's wrapped around it. So yeah, so when that guy said that, the CEO said that, it made a lot of sense, man. And I was like, man, because I look at it now, because I don't make excuses anymore, because I look at it from like, hey, what are you sacrificing to get what you want to get? You feel what I'm saying? So if you don't have it, you're not doing what you're supposed to do to get it. So sacrifice is a big thing, man. This topic here is very major, man, because it's something that we all can like get better on as far as like making our goals, but what are we going to do about those goals to achieve them?
I agree. Anything tangible that you want out of life it's probably going to require a sacrifice, because otherwise you'd already done it at this point. You have to be able to be uncomfortable in some shape or form to rise to a different level of yourself, you know, different from where you at now. So be it your work, uh, your health, your education, your finances, whatever it may be. You're not current state, you're not there. But you set up rules for yourself of how you're gonna get to this point. Okay, if it's a matter of, you know, we're gonna say the exercise. If you know that you don't want to lose time with your family at night, but you can wake up early in the morning, you can go and work out, and then, you know, go to work or whatever you do, you know, for a living, then you're still not taking anything from family time. So in order for you to achieve that goal, you made yourself uncomfortable. Okay, I can't stay up to midnight playing on the Xbox or watching TV or whatever it may be. I need to go to bed early so that I can get up and do these things. You just setting yourself up for success, but success costs uncomfortability, sacrifice, in some cases failure. All those things is all those things are the currency you use to buy success, but it's gonna cost you, and you just have to be okay with that.
No, that's real. I mean, everybody's, you know, we pretty much all are in unison when it comes to this, because we all understand, you know, we've, like I said, we've had to sacrifice a lot to get to even where we are right now. You know, even if we're not at where we, so to speak, want to be in life, just to get where we are right now, we've had to sacrifice some things, you know. And it's just like everybody's saying, like if you say you want something out of life, whatever it is, you got to make that choice. You know, how important is what you're going after? How important is it to you? Because if it's really that important to you, you will be willing to do what it takes to make those sacrifices. You know, And also it's a matter of, if you're not worried, if you're not at the place that you want to be in life, it's because you're not sacrificing enough. Something's not being sacrificed, and it could just be right now. It could have been a period of time. But if you really are not where you want to be in your life, look at the thing, look at where you want to go, and say, and look at what you have been willing to sacrifice or what you have not given up, because it's tied hand in hand. Of course, life as it happens, and things happen as life does. But at the same time, that's just like Eric Thomas, man. Like E.T. the hip hop preacher, he's dope. He's like, if you want success as bad as you want to breathe, like that whole thing when he was like, took the dude out to the water, and it was just a matter of, I forget the analogy, but like I said, like the water got to his nose, and he was, that's where he was willing to give up. He's like, okay, nah, you don't want it bad enough. When you want success as bad as as much as you want to breathe, then that's when you truly want something. So I said, a lot of times, we might say we want something, but if we're not doing everything that it takes, how bad do we really want it? How bad do we really want it? Like even in my situation, like right now, like I want my own place. I don't currently have my own place right now. I live in a house with with a few different roommates. I want my own place, but I want my own property too. I'd rather have a home. I'd rather own a home. So being that I have everything right now, I don't need to. Of course, I would like to have my own place, but what's the bigger picture? I said the bigger picture is my own property. So I'm sacrificing that. I guess you would say, privacy, the ability to come home and have my own, like I said, my own space. I'm sacrificing that for the bigger picture, which is a home, and it's worth it. Like I can go out and get an apartment right now, have a expensive rent bill, but right now I have everything I need. You know what I'm saying? Got my own room, got all my stuff where it needs to be. I can go out to my storage and print up some shirts, press up some shirts, and do all that. I'm good. But that's because I know what the bigger picture is, and I'm willing to sacrifice having my own apartment right now for the bigger picture of owning some property. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it's about, man. You just got to be willing to make the necessary moves for whatever you want, whatever you're going after. You got to do it. So yeah, highly important. Integral, actually, like it's without sacrificing, it's the core of leveling up. It's the core of it. Like you can't think that you can have everything that you have always had at your fingertips, and still get to that next level. It's not gonna happen. So it's very, very integral to your success to that level up.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep, bro. Because the biggest thing, and I want to commend you three gentlemen too as well, man. Because it's been over 6 months that we've been doing this live and everything. Like we come from all different backgrounds of life, and but it requires us to be through midweek, and have the live too as well. So we sacrificing, and it's good because it's for a bigger, like you said, Ty, a bigger picture. That's the whole grand scheme of things. That's what we look forward to is the big picture, you know. So that's why it's worth, you know, putting in the work and putting in the time that you do put into, because once you get to reap that harvest, it's all kind of different benefits that you can have with that, you know. So even with me, you know, like in 2016, I was homeless, you know, and I was going from house to house, bro. And like, thank God for all the people that was in my life. But I was in my car, I was in the house with other people, and I lost my car, you know. And then I end up being with one of my close friends right now because we built a relationship. I met him at the job, him and his girlfriend and his dog. I was laying next to a dog, bro. Like that was the dog room, you know. But it was humbling. I humbled myself because I never thought that I would be in that position. But I was like, wow, but while I'm still here, while I'm here right now, is a reason why I am here. So what are the sacrifices that I'm gonna make to get out of this situation? You get what I'm saying? So I had to dig deep in myself and understand that, hey, look, you set your goals and priorities, but it was putting me in a different mental space of trying to get myself clear from that, you know? So I'm very moved by these type of subjects because it's just it hits home and saying that we still have work to do. You get what I'm saying? So like whatever you put, what task you got in hand, there's work to do, man. Even what Henry had brought out about failure. If you fail, you still can, you have, let's get it. Like, you know, it's you have to make some different moves and be like, okay, this is what I learned from what happened, and this is where I'm gonna avoid next time of going there. You know, so like for me, if I was to go back homeless, I know what to do this time. You know what I'm saying? For me to prevent myself from going there. Or if I was entrapped in that, I know what plans, I know what sacrifice I would have to do again to make sure that I get out of the situation. So just have a detailed understanding of knowing that, you know, your sacrifice is something that's going to be beneficial in the end. Like Ty said, the big picture, that was the best word to describe this, because like you have to look at that big picture to see where you, like, first see where you're going in life. So you know that you're going in that direction. Okay, this is what it's going to require for me to get there. You know what I mean? And just like what the ex-CEO said, a lot of people not going to do that, you know, and it's okay. But you got to understand you're in your situation and you might be there because you're not making the proper sacrifices.
Yeah.
That's key. And like you said, Ty, that bigger picture is what I just like, just touching on what y'all said. I think of it like two different things. Like with the sacrifice, that's the ending part. That's the success aspect of it. Without that sacrifice, you're not gonna get there. But in between there, there's like this little gray area that we probably live in that we don't understand or even realize, but it's discipline. And even though you may sacrifice some things, you have to be now disciplined to maintain that to then get to that next level. And what I mean by that is, let's just keep using a gym analogy. You got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym and then be at work and then have more time with your family at the end of the day. That's not, that sacrifices loss of sleep to spend time with your family. But now that requires you to be disciplined within the sacrifice, because the end goal is, again, maybe it's to create a business with your family. Maybe it's just quality time with them. It could be multiple things. But within that sacrifice, when you wake up, now you have to be consistent in this routine that you built. Now you are creating new habits within, you know what I mean? Like you quote unquote lose something, but in the midst of that, you're gaining something new all in the same breath. And you're really not even realizing it. So it's like I'm sacrificing my sleep to gain more time. But in the midst of that, I'm now becoming, you know, a better version of myself because I'm creating a habit that requires discipline to keep it. And I just feel like it's a sacrifice, but you also gaining something. So it's almost like a blessing in disguise when you actually be like, you know what, I got to do it. This is what I got to do. On the other end of that, it's like, cool. Now I'm gonna show you what it's look like to be consistent in what you're doing. And on the other end of that, you're gonna get rewarded tenfold. And I feel like, I don't know, it's a challenge to me. And I embrace that because again, it's like you said, you have to let something go to get to the next level. And you really ain't gonna be able to unless you realize that. You're gonna continue to fall into the trap again. Like you said, you may, if you don't become disciplined within the sacrifices you're making, you, like you said, Jesse, you may fall back into something that you don't even want to be in. So remaining disciplined, remaining poised within that process, it's like, cool, I know where I'm gonna be at when I get done with this. So stay on that path. And then that path will get you to a whole nother level of life. And that's just, you know what I mean? Like to me, it's a twofold. It's even a threefold. You can go deeper than that. But just when y'all said that bigger picture, it's like, what is this all for? And it's to gain discipline, but also to see everything at the other end of the tunnel. So it's like, why not do it? Why not take that challenge? Why not embrace that? And you know what I mean? You may not even be sacrificing one thing. You may be sacrificing multiple things, but you gain in discipline in the midst of that.
Yeah. I agree. I can give y'all a couple of real world examples of some things that I've had worked through as far as sacrifice. Now originally from South Carolina. But I had, and I guess to kind of tie back into a little bit what we talked about last week, as far as people, reaching back to help you, or LeBron situation. Well, I had a ex coworker that reached out to me about a position that he thought I'd be good for. The only caveat to it was I had to come to Arkansas. So packed up whole family. We don't have, like, our nearest families to us is Atlanta or either Ohio. We on the island out to ourselves. But in order for me to get back working, the sacrifice there was, hey, I had to, say bye to family. Hours and hours away. Now, once I got here, the requirements of the job, it was a lot of it that was very big, and I had to hit the floor running. So the sacrifice there was 2 weeks out of every month, I was gone. I was always all over the country, gone. That's time I had to be away from my family. Mind you, we just moved to a whole different state in the middle of the country, but I had to sacrifice that time to get up to speed of what was required of me. So now I'm at a totally different job, doing the same thing, but at a different place. And the money wasn't the same. But what I figured out is, I could do a little overtime, and they, allowed that. So I was able to get close or comfortable enough to what I was bringing home before to keep us afloat. But in doing so, that now required me, instead of showing up at the job 7:30 in the morning, I need to show up there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I sacrificed my time, sleeping by getting up early to be able to, make that dollar that I need to bring home. Well, because I'm about to move in that, what I currently was doing is different from what I was doing at the last place. And I just got promoted up to do that now there, where now I'm back on salary and I don't have to be to work till 7 something. But I saw that coming down the road. So that sacrifice to go in early to work those extra hours, now I can take that time because I've been wanting to, get back in the gym to get more of a handle on my health than what I currently have. I can use that exact same time there because now I'm conditioned to getting up at that time of the morning. So the sacrifice that I'm giving up is the sleep, but now I'm able to start accomplishing more. So you have to be able to look and see what it is that you want out of life. You figure out the path to get there, and sometimes if it, like I said earlier, you know what? It's not gonna be that easy all the time. Because if it was that easy, it would be attainable. It'd be easily attainable. But sometimes that road is gonna have those hiccups. It's gonna have those hurdles. You're gonna have to be uncomfortable. But everything that you want is on the other side of uncomfortability. And it's easy to do when it's easy to do, but it's when things get difficult, it get hard to stick to whatever that sacrifice is. Because, human nature, we're going to want to go back when things get tough, like, well, maybe this wasn't for me. You got to be able to stick through. Because once you stick through it, you not only be able to accomplish whatever that goal is, but now you internalize that, you know what? If I set my mind to it, I can do it. In all honesty, at that point, your mind is your only limit. Because whatever it is you done taught yourself, you could do it. If there's somebody who trying to quit smoking and they decide to go cold turkey, throw all of them out. If they can maintain that discipline enough not to go and buy cigarettes, hell, whatever they want to do, they already know they got that. They can set their mind to it and they can achieve it. If it's dieting, if you can, especially dieting, if you can control what you put in your mouth, and that's like the hardest thing for any of us to gain discipline over what we eat. If you can gain control over that, the world is up to you to go out and grab. Nothing can stop you because you've taught yourself that you do have that willpower.
That's real, man. You know, it's all about when it comes to sacrificing, it's all about your why. That's it. You know what I mean? Like you got to remember your why. You got to understand. You got to think about your why. And if that why is as important to you as you say it is, you're not going to have a problem with whatever you need to sacrifice. So, like I said, that your why is why you sacrifice. You know, that's why you do the things that you do to get to that level. Because, like I said, back to what I said, the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the why. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it comes down to. You know, no matter what no matter what in life that you want. If you're getting into a relationship, you ain't gonna be able to kick it with your boys, or you know what I'm saying. She ain't gonna be able to. I mean, you can kick it with your boys. She can keep kicking it with her girls, but why are you getting into that relationship if you're gonna still do the same things that you was doing when you were single? You're sacrificing that, you know, and it's for the greater good of your life. It's benefiting, you know what I mean, what you want out of life as you get older, as you know, understand what's important. You know, if you're tired of working at 9 to 5 and you start a business, you know, on the side after you get off work, you know, from 9 to 12, you know, you're gonna sacrifice that sleep for that business because you got to put in that time, 8 to 2, whatever, you know what I mean, whatever time you put in, but you got to put in some time. You know, you gotta work the job too, but you got to still put that time in to work to so that business can grow. You sacrificing time with the family, you sacrificing time to sleep, to chill, relax. We love to chill. You know, we all work hard. So when we come home, we like to, you know, we got to reset. We like to, you know, decompress. You know, we might throw on the Netflix or whatever for a good minute. We might, you know, just chill. We might scroll on our phone for a little bit. But what's important is getting out of that 9 to 5. So you gotta say, you know what, I'm gonna put that aside. I mean, even with the power, that book, The Power of Now, you know what I mean? No, not The Power of Now, but the Atomic Habits. You know, you talk about that in Atomic Habits, where you know you gotta reward yourself with those little things. Like, okay, I'm gonna put in 2 or 3 hours of this business that I'm working on, so I can go scroll on social media, so I can go watch my Netflix show, so I can go, you know, chill and kick it with the family or friends or whatever, you know. But by doing that, you know, like I said, you make it a little reward type of thing, you know, and it's going you want that reward, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, let me go do this, you know. Like with me, what I'll do is I'll make sure I, you know, I mean, I got a little weight bench out here at the house, and I got, you know, a curl bar and, you know, some things that I might not hit the gym, but I can still go into my storage, get a good 2 or 3 sets in, get a good 2 or 3 sets in on the curl side, and still know that I'm making that progress, even though I might not necessarily go to the gym every day or go to the gym you know what I mean, all the time. I can still make that sacrifice of like I said, that little time that I might want to relax and chill or do whatever. But by me saying, okay, I'm gonna go out here, get a quick pump in, and once I finish that, then I'll go chill and scroll social media or, you know, turn on a show that I'm watching on Netflix or whatever, you know. Um, so yeah, you just gotta be your why has to be that important, you know. So and yeah, just like you said, Jesse too, you know, I was homeless as well, bro. Like that's not something that is easy to deal with, easy to go through, you know. Um and it's a you in a sense sacrificed whatever happened to where you know to where you got there, you became in a sense the sacrifice because it threw you off of what you know your normal lifestyle. So in order to get back to that, you got to sacrifice some things. You got to you because you're gonna have to save some money. You're gonna have to you know do certain things that's gonna get you back on point. You know, so yeah, man, like life is full of sacrifices. Just like change is a constant. Sacrifice is the same constant. You know, so
Right.
yeah.
So I'm gonna look, check this out. Cause while y'all talking, man, it just brought me to this here right here. And when I'm hearing everything, first you gotta require like whenever you thinking about that thing that you're gonna sacrifice for, you gotta think about the big picture first. What do you want out of it? Right? Then when Corey brought out with the discipline, go with the discipline. Then Henry is talking about balance. You're going through with what your family what is going to require for you to do. And when Henry brought out about the food thing, it immediately made me think about, me reversing diabetes. And I looked at the big picture, what the big picture was, well, me being diabetes free, stopping the leg cramps, all this other stuff. Okay, cool. Then I'm like, okay, that's where I want to be. But what is going to require? Okay, me discipline. I ate fruits for 40 days. You know what I mean? Nothing, no meat, nothing that I love, none of the stuff that like my body wants. And then the balance came with the exercising and the eating right and to like really like meditation on not thinking about what I want, like what my body wants. You feel what I'm saying? So I was telling it what it needs instead of what it wanted. So once I was able to get to the bigger picture, then that's when the celebration came inside of myself because I was like, damn, I did this. Like somebody that eats like beef and chicken every day of his life, ever since he was a infant, So it's like all the way up until like 40 years, that's the same thing. And I can cut it in 40 days. Come on, man. That like the ratio don't even add up. You know what I mean? But I had to hear a lot of stuff, man. Like, why are you doing that, bro? That's not healthy. My family, because everybody not gonna understand what you're dealing with, man. So sometimes you gotta blot out a lot of the things that you hear and go for what you know and what you want. And that's the biggest thing, because you cannot ever, ever, ever forget that big picture, man. That big picture is where it's at for you. And that's pretty much almost like the promised land. It's like, okay, I achieved this, that like you said, Cole, earlier, like $100,000, that's your goal, okay. That's what you have to think about first. Logically, let's think about it. Okay, I want $100,000. That's the big picture. How can I get to that? You know what I'm saying? So now it's discipline. I'm not gonna eat McDonald's. I'm not gonna eat Wingstop. Every time I think about this type of stuff, I'm going to send it to a separate account. You know what I mean? Every time I get the urge of wanting something bad, I'm just gonna send it over there. And then it's all about the balance. You know what I mean? So you're balancing yourself, and you're like, once you start seeing the discipline getting there, and it becomes a habit, that's when you like, okay, I can balance this because it don't matter what he say, she say stuff. I'm staying focused on what I want. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all brought out those 3 key facts, bro, that's something that I thought about, and I was like, man, like this is really how life goes. Especially for yourself. If this is what you want, come up with the idea, you know, a business or whatever it is, man. But think about the end goal and say, okay, this is how many I want. This is what I want. This is what I envision for my company or whatever. And here it is, the discipline coming out. Like what Ty said, that be your second job. You come home and you work towards it. Do what you got to do. Get yourself out of there. So, yeah, man, that was deep, man. So I think that was some very key points that you guys brought out too as well, man, because it all comes together for the big picture.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all this, just to kind of put y'all on your heels a little bit. At what point do you no longer feel the need to continue to make the sacrifices that you once started to make? Meaning, now that we made certain sacrifices, you now reprogramming yourself to do things a certain way, which probably, again, created that discipline. But at what point do you stop? So again, your goal was to get to 240 pounds. You was 300. You had 240. You did it in less time. You said your goal was 6 months. You did it in 3. With that 3 months left over that you set your goal out, do you now do more with the time that you have, that 3 months? Or do you allow yourself that grace and that peace because, oh, I got my goal, I reached my goal, I sacrificed, I was disciplined, I did it in a shorter time, but now that I have this freedom, what do? Do you keep going or do you pause?
I think it's about, you know, like you said, it's about reshaping those habits. You know, so say if you did get there in 3 months, but you've created a lifestyle now, right? So if you stop, you can end up going right back to where you were. You know what I'm saying? You can end up right back where you were. So that's why it's important to maintain it. You gotta keep with that lifestyle. I think now, of course, you can give yourself, like you said, you can give yourself a little bit of grace, but because you've established that new lifestyle now, you're not going to, in a sense, backtrack. You're not going to fall off like you would have. But you have to maintain. You have to. It's like that's one of those things where they call resting on your laurels. You know what I mean? You can't do that, because if you do, like I said, you're gonna go right back to doing what you was doing. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why you gotta maintain. It's like, okay, once you get something, it's not time to relax. That's when it's time to go harder. It's time to like I said, to keep it going, because I said it can be taken away from you, just like that. It can be taken right from you. But like I said, of course, you're gonna be able to give yourself a little bit of grace, or you should be able to give yourself some grace, because as long as you've established that you've rewired your brain, like I said, you've reestablished, you've pivoted. But because we know how easy it is for our brain to oh, you didn't already lost this. You can have that. You can have that cheesecake. You can have that piece of cake. You can have that donut. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna affect you. And then what happens? It's just like we said in Atomic Habits. You know, that's why that's a great read, man. Jesse, have you got that one yet?
Yeah, I got it in my library, man. That's my next thing.
That's the one, man, because like he speaks to it. It's like, you know, it's like, and what he says it's like compound interest. You know, you're compounding. So if you give up one day, yeah, that's okay, so to speak. But you got to make sure that you get back on that horse, so to speak, the next day, and don't let, because by continuing to slack, you're compounding that failure. But that's why, like you said, if you get, we spoke about it before, you know, recording with the 1% every day. If you get better by 1% every day, you're compounding that success. You're just getting better and better and better. So it might just be 1% that day, but it's just like when it comes to stocks and savings, if you put in $100 into the stock market every month, you might only be putting that $100 in every month, but that compounding effect of you continuing to do it with that interest added, that's where the greatness is. Because like I said, you're not stopping. You're doing it all the time. You're being consistent. So yeah, man, that's why I definitely feel once you get to a certain level, you can't stop, because you're just gonna you could easily backtrack, and that's not something that you want to do. So yeah, you got to keep making that sacrifice of of what you were doing.
I was gonna say the same exact thing, bro, because it's all about maintenance, and you have to keep going. Just like for me, for instance, I'm gonna be the guinea pig on it, because I just spoke about, doing the diabetes thing, right? So I did the 40 days. Thanksgiving was around the corner. You know what I'm saying? I quit. I done. I was good. I was like, oh man, I got to it. I was able to defeat it, telling everybody about it, and fell right back into my old habits. You get what I'm saying? So, but here I am. If I would have kept maintaining it, my body still would have been like, like we used to eating this way now. You know what I mean? So listen to us. You know what I mean? So I would be able to have a better verdict of what I went through. So maintaining that, like like what you said, the ideal weight is 240 pounds. If that's what your goal is, get to that goal. Yes, we celebrate, boom, 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 but it's not over. You got to maintain it now. You got to maintenance it. You know what I'm saying? Got to keep going to the gym, chisel it up. You know what I mean? And then you can keep being that sacrifice, because it's going to revolve just like that. Like even if you had a business, if you stop working, it's going to shut down. You know what I'm saying? You got to that $100,000 that we just talked about. But if you don't want more in your mind, like you got to keep going at it and keep rolling with it. It's going to stay stagnant, or it's gonna fail. So you have to keep maintenance it. It's almost like running a machine, and you got to keep putting like our cars, keep putting oil and gas in it. That's what it runs off of. You got to keep it rolling. So keep maintenance it. So it's gonna do good for you.
Everything you did to get the girl, you got to do to keep the girl.
100%. But again, I'm doing this on purpose. I want to hear Henry on this one, just because I know he got. How can I put this? He said something earlier. I ain't gonna paraphrase it, but let me ask all y'all this. But I want to hear Henry first. At what point, when we make these moves and we make these adjustments, and now we have the discipline, and now we sacrifice this, that, and the third, at what point are we now being greedy? Because let's just use the 100K. If my goal was to get 100K in 6 months in my business, I got 100K. But if I'm chasing a dollar sign, I got 100K, I need 2. When you get the 2, what's going to happen? And I ask that because it's a thin line between being disciplined and then just, to me, it's like biting off more than what you can handle. So is there a thin line that y'all agree, like, okay, you can be greedy within those sacrifices and discipline? Or once you create that flow of whatever, that water flowing stream that you got to keep it going. But is that being greedy?
Well, I may have to piggyback off what Tyrus was saying earlier. You got to know what your why is, and why would be attached to that dollar amount. So if your goal was to get to 100K, you get to the 100K. But why were you trying to get there? Was this, put down payment on a house? You were planning on moving out of the country, whatever it may be. Once you've achieved that, well, that goal is finished. But it has to be something, something real. If you're just saying that you want to make money, and if money is the goal line always has a chance to move. So it'll never be enough. And yeah, at that point, you're going to start to be greedy, because you're just not stopping. Now, again, if you set money aside because you plan a vacation, you plan to buy a new vehicle, and that's what your goal is, well, you have to look at what are you going to be sacrificing to achieve that. If single man and you decide, well, I'm just going to live off of bologna and noodles to save this money up, but you sacrificing barbecue and fried fish and any other thing else because this is your goal. And this is the pathway that you cut out to reach that goal. And periodically you can see whether it's working or not, obviously by counting up the money to get to that point. If it's not working where you're achieving that, you have time to reassess and adjust. But this is the goal, and you cut the best path towards that.
Okay.
I have two different sides of it, bro. And from my thinking, I get where you coming from as far as setting that goal for 100K. Okay, so it depends, like what Tyra says, depends on that why, on that person. Because I can be like, okay, I have a business in mind that I want, and once I reach that 100K, now I want to build a legacy. Maybe I want a new store I can build across town, or I want 6 more stores. I don't feel like that's greedy as far as like what's your why towards it. Because like for me, if I have more than one business going around and going here and there, and I want unlimited money for my family, you know what I'm saying? It might be for my legacy. Like whenever I pass away, like my kids can be able to take over and do what they need to do with the business. You know what I'm saying? So keeping it inside of the family, or and keep the business rolling like that. So I do understand where you're coming from with the, if that person want just 100K and that's what they fine with, that's cool, But for me, I'm thinking on it like, if I make more businesses and I want more, of course I want more money because I want the business to survive, like all of the businesses that I do. So my thinking towards being greedy would not be with that, because I'm thinking about my family and my legacy of what the business would be for me. That would be me, So, but you do have more people out there that'll do whatever for the money and try to be greedy and try to scam and all this other shit. But like for me personally, coming from what I'm thinking about, I'm like, well, it's more about legacy for me, in my bloodline and my last name. So
I can dig
Now, in
that.
that case, wouldn't that be your
Yo, why?
No. Aaron, I just went completely blank just now. Wouldn't that be your goal? That you want to provide best for your family, and not necessarily a number amount, but the goal for you is you want to build a legacy for your family. So in that case, that branches out. As far as, if you start this business, you raise this money for this business, and from that you go and you grow in the business. The money wasn't necessarily the goal there. The goal was to build
right.
The legacy for your family, something you could pass on for your family to be able, receive riches off of past your lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think us as just speaking from a man's point of view, we value a challenge. So once you've hit that notch, that first notch of say you want that 100K, let's use that example as well. You don't want to lose that. You still want to be challenged in a sense. Like, so it's a matter of, and it kind of coincides with my next point. As long as it doesn't change you who you are in the core, as a core of a person, then I don't think it's a problem with it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, as men, we like challenges. So to continue to make sure that you're being challenged, as long as it's not changing who you are as a person, and in the view, especially in the eyes of the people that love you, as long as you're not, somebody completely different, you're a different monster, you're a different animal, keep going, but make sure you keep your core values, because that's what's most important. That's you maintaining who you are as a man, as a person, period. Over, yeah, you might, you're still going after, like I said, you might hit that goal, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because you just want to make sure that you keep that same fight. You don't want to, like I said, you don't want to rest on the laurels. Like, boom, I got my 100,000. Boom, okay, boom, I'm good. I don't got to do nothing else. Because we really don't like feeling. I don't want to ever feel like I have nothing to in a sense to fight for, to go after, you know, because that's what keeps us alive. That's what keeps us going. You know, that's because in a sense, that's part of the idea of hope. If you think about it, you know, the idea of you're still going, you're still, you know, kind of not necessarily chasing after something, but you're still going after something, you know, and you have a chance of getting it. So you just that the idea of I still have a chance of getting something, that's going to keep you going. So yeah, I think it's important to you know, like I said, as long as it doesn't change who you are as a person, as long as you know who you are is still at your core and people can see that, and you can see that, then I think it's important, man. I think, you know, you should always keep going. Because at what point? Because when you do stop, what's next? That's why so many people who I guess let's use us as men for another example. That's why us as men, you know, when we retire, a lot of men after, like say, if they don't do something else after they retire, they ended up dying real soon after they retire. Because it's like we're directly attached in a sense to what we to our, not necessarily our jobs, but being active and just that's a big part of our purpose. So you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So if we feel like we don't have a purpose, that takes a lot out of us. So that's why you'll see men who after they retire from the job they've been doing for a long time, they'll work another job after that. Because we're directly attached to, in a sense, our purpose. And our purpose, in a sense, is being a provider, being a protector, being able to, you know, that's all ingrained in us. So you don't necessarily have to go to work, but you definitely want to find something that you can attach yourself to, and that's going to basically uh, assist in giving you purpose.
Yeah. And that's what my thought at, and you took it out of my mouth. So I was just like, as I'm hearing you, I'm listening to you, I'm like, there it is. Because Henry, y'all all said it. Jesse, Ty, y'all all said, what's your why? And our why is, like you said, is to create a legacy, this, that, and the third. But what is your purpose? What is your purpose in life, and why is that your why? So they correlate together. And for me, with the understanding that I'm grabbing from y'all, it's like you gotta have both. You have a purpose in life, and then you have a why. Like for instance, I have a son. He's much younger than me, of course, so I have to now lead by example. My purpose is to now bring him up in a way, in the fashion that I, one, didn't have the opportunity to, but then also get him past where I'm at. That's my purpose in my life that I feel I am now obligated to do. My why is because I mean, I know what this world is right now. I know how it's going to evolve. I know that if I don't bring him up in a way, this world will eat him alive. So as his father, it's my duty to again lead by example, but also keep in mind that things are going to evolve from the original form. So, but what y'all said is key. And, you know, this is why I felt like the topic at hand was so crucial, because sacrifice isn't just one thing. It's not just an act on its own. There's so many key components that go into it. And it's just like, what's your purpose? What's your why? Why do you sacrifice? What is a sacrifice to you? What is your limits? And just unpacking those layers of it is like, again, I started off earlier, like, you know, seeing the first person to display what a sacrifice is, it was like, okay, now I got an example. But then after that, from a male perspective, what is it that I'm supposed to sacrifice? What direction do I go to get to where I want to go? Who is the damn person that's going to show you, like, hey, this is what you got to do, this, that, and the third. Without having those tools, you kind of go through those situations on your own, then you find out the hard way by making mistakes, and then you live and then you learn from those situations. That part of it's dope. But like I said, my purpose is to now be like, Josiah, my son, you're not gonna make those same mistakes. I'm gonna put you in a position to legacy that we talked about, like we talked about last week of LeBron. I'm gonna make sure that you don't gotta go through that. I want you to have that silver spoon, because the sacrifices I made for me, you now get to enjoy the fruits of my labor when it's your turn, and then I'm gonna pass that on to you. And then
Right.
if you pass that on to your family, if you have one, by all means necessary. If you don't, you still have the tools to survive and thrive in this world that is forever changing. So for me, like I said, that word of sacrifice is heavy, and there's so many layers to it. But y'all all hit it on point. You know what I mean? That's why I thought, like, we can unpack this one right, because it's layers to it.
Yeah. And one more
Very
thing I
good.
want to add, bro. One more thing. Since y'all had said that too as well, like with my dad, bro, and he's 65. You know, he retired, but he didn't give himself a solid month, bro. Like he started working again, and and just like what I read inside of what the dictionary was saying, it was like a lot of times you put others before yourself.
Mhm.
And that's a sacrifice in as well, because we all have kids. So how easy it is to like just inform yourself and be in their lives so much to where you forget about yourself and your happiness too as well. So balancing all of that is something that's key, you know what I mean? Because you can still work on yourself and still be there for your child and do what you need to do for yourself, like for retirement. And that's why I was saying, like, the big picture. Like now I learned now tonight, that's what I'm going to put before anything that I do now. So whenever I'm his age, I'm like, okay, man, I'm on the beaches with we were talking about toes getting done and all that earlier today. Hey, man, my feet gonna be all right. I'm gonna be inside of these white sand beaches, and that's what we're gonna do. That's what the big picture is now. What I realized tonight. So what I'm gonna do now to get to that point, you know what I mean? So I don't have to worry and live and think that I'm gonna just die whenever I done gave all half of my life to this job that I done did, man.
Mm.
So just thinking about that, man, it just brings me back to that, because like the requirements of you putting others before yourself too as well, that is a sacrifice. Taking care of your kids is a sacrifice. You go into a lot of us go to dead end jobs that we cannot stand, but we have to be there because we have to provide. So think about that. It's just like, okay, what's the bigger picture so you can have a better life for you and your children could be able to live off of, and how
For
we
real.
gonna get there.
That's 100. That's 100, man. That's why I like talking to y'all brothers, man. That's why we here, man. Bro Foundation.
Sure. Yes,
This is
sir.
what we do.
Know it,
Sure.
and just kind of, like, I guess you'd say putting a wrap on it, in a nutshell, man, in order to win, you have to sacrifice. In order to win, you have to sacrifice something. Something will be sacrificed if you want to win. That's why, when I first seen that movie Transformers, right, the Wiki motto, no sacrifice, no victory.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and ever since I heard him say that, it's been burned in my brain, because it's the truest, it's the realest. You know what I mean? No sacrifice, no victory. How you gonna win if you ain't willing to sacrifice something? It's impossible. You can't. You know what I mean? You look at the greatest sports hero, what I'm saying, athletes out here. You look at what Jordan did. You look at what Kobe would do. You look at what Tom Brady would do. You know what I'm saying? You think we've all heard stories of what Kobe would do. You know what I mean? Like, be up in the gym already at 4 o'clock in the morning when cats is just now coming in. So he would stay an hour later just so people know that you're not outworking him. Like, he was already there before him. And then when cats come in, he would stay even longer just so they knew how serious he was about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's dedication at the highest level. So yeah, man, you want to win, you got to sacrifice. And when the other quote that I love is you must sacrifice for the things you want in life, or the things you want in life will be the sacrifice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it again.
You must sacrifice for the things that you want in life, or the things you want in life will be the sacrifice.
Mm.
So if you don't
That's-
go after what you want, if you're willing to sacrifice for what you want, what you
Mm.
want, you will end up sacrificing that because
that's crazy
you chose not to do what it takes.
to touch on that, not to cut your wisdom.
No, you good.
Other quote similar to that. When you think about sacrifice, they say, as long as you don't quit, you'll eventually reach it. But if you decide to quit, like those sacrifices, you'll never know what could have been.
Yeah.
And that quote to it, but it's just on the other side of that success of that sacrifice is success.
Yeah.
But if you would never see it.
You'll never,
So,
you'll never
yep.
know.
Never know. You
Big
never
fact.
know. That's
Big
right.
fact.
So we're gonna have to put that on a t-shirt or something.
You know, for real.
We got the t-shirt man right here, baby.
I'm
I was
saying,
about to say,
you
I
know,
know a guy.
Yeah, I know a fella.
I can whip one up right now. You know what I'm saying? Go and whip one up right now. But yeah, man, definitely good topic, good information, good things for people to just tap into and just take heed to everything that was said. And like you said, I think it was you, Jess. We all kind of come from different backgrounds, but we all have a similar ideology, so to speak. But like I said, they might not all. That's the whole idea, though. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to all connect, but it's like we all have. It's like they might join at one point, but the it's the fact that we got 4 points of views is the whole idea of it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, another great talk, fellas. Anybody else want to say anything before we sign off?
That's about it, man.
I think we got it.
I think we captured a lot. You know what I mean? Anybody can, anyone that's watching, any people that's willing to, give their comment, give their 2 cents, we are open to it. As Ty always say, like we look for those kind of comments. We look for that feedback. So y'all may not agree with us, we may not agree with you. Sometimes we don't agree with each other, but at the end of the day, the conversation itself is what helps us create that ideology. It creates this expansion of thought. So it's just like at any given time, share your info, share that knowledge.
Yeah, put in the comments what are you sacrificing right now to get what you want. Put in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Like what are you giving up for what you're going after? That's what we want to know. Share with us.
Yep.
We sharing with you. Share with us.
Share, drop it in the comments. Go to our Instagram pages. Let us know.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So another great episode. We'll see y'all again next time. Profound Nation. Profound conversations with brothers across the nation. Peace, y'all.
Oh, peace.